Hi Felix, I'm Sarah from The Upcoming. A real pleasure to be with you here in Cannes. Huge congratulations on the film and having it here at the film festival. Maybe for people who haven't seen Death Does Not Exist yet, what can they expect going in?
It's a tragic tale about political violence. It's a young activist that attack a wealthy family, and it's a tale. So there's a fantastic part to it. They develop strange power after the attack, and they have moral challenges and dilemmas. It's an animated feature. An adult animated feature.
And what was the starting point of the idea, and how did it maybe evolve from sort of more like a politically charged thriller into something kind of more meditative and dreamlike?
It is a reflexive film, but it is also a pretty action-packed. Like the beginning and the end is very dense, I feel, and the middle part is more of a reflexive segment. It was like that at the very beginning. The script is, I wanted to explore these paradoxes and contradiction of the engagement, involved in the political action, or daily contradictions and paradoxes, and my intimate personal contradictions and paradoxes. I felt a tale, the context of a tale could fit these reflection and these paradoxes.
What is it about animation that I guess allows you to explore those sorts of themes and thoughts in a really creative way? And particularly, I guess, being more stripped back in this being, you know, a true animation, where the previous film, where it had more live action, other bits thrown in as well. So why was this the medium for you for the story?
I'm first and foremost an animation filmmaker. When I write scripts, I think about movements, colors, and drawings and forms. So it's at the basis of my process. Yet animation is established at the very first second of the film, a certain distance with the reality that is depicted. It's an artifice, in its essence. It's an artifice, and I think it's a precious one, and it's a powerful one. It's a demanding medium, yet a very rewarding one also, because it permits a lot in terms of mise en scène. You have the language of cinema, obviously, but you have also the language of drawings and the language of painting that can be incorporated within your mise en scène. It's a very strong tool. With the theme that are dealt with in That Does Not Exist, the animation permitted to represent first violence in a precise way. Either it is shown, either it is not shown, permitted to bring this fantastic part into the story. There's some magic moments, there's some transformations. There's a kind of there are in my mind two levels of reality evolving at the same time during the film. There are animals that are coming back to life and everything. So that is possible because of the animation.
And maybe you can talk us through more like the specifics on a technical level of your approach to animation. I mean, ballpark, how long is the process of producing this film? You know, 70 minutes is the final product, but you know, how long does it take to produce that? But also, where would you say you take your references from in terms of your animation style? Because of course, it's such a broad church these days, you know, right from people using sort of old school styles of hand-drawn animation right through to everything being completely CGI.
It was animated 12 drawings per second on a graphic tablet, and the color were painted on paper. And that's the color palette was at the very beginning of the making. I established a limited, maybe 40 colors painted on paper with different transparencies and shades. And from this palette, the film emerged. So I like the idea of having a sequence of color fields, and from which a story, characters, backgrounds emerge. I like the idea. I like the principle. That was the first structure. And within, in the making, it was a pretty precise animation hand drawn, and then the coloring was pretty intuitive. Like I did the coloring after the line was animated, so it was like painting, like back and forth, adding and subtracting. It was in a pretty intuitive and fun way. It was demanding, but yeah, very fun. And it took us, apart from the writing, financing, and all the the administrative thing, it's almost 4 years in the making. A year and a half alone with my main animator, Yunjin Park, We did a pretty precise animatic, which is like storyboard in motion, let's say. So a couple of drawing, quite precise though, for each shots of the film. You edit that with the voice, so it gives you a certain feeling of the whole film, and then you animate specific plans, specific shots, and you insert it in the editing, and that took a bit less than 3 years. So altogether, yeah, a bit more than 4 years in the making.
And tell us about how the character of Helene, I guess, formed in your mind. And I guess it's through her that you're raising these questions about kind of moral conflict. So, you know, how did you land on her, and why is she the lens through which you wanted to tell your story?
The film's characters are, in my mind, paradoxical alter egos. They're reflecting each other, either in friendship, either in age with the kid or the old woman, either in social or political context and beliefs. It's like they're mirroring each other in a very contradictory way, in a paradoxical way. And I tried, even if it's the dilemmas and the contradictions of Hélène that is at the heart of the film, I tried to share the truth of the film with each characters. They each hold a part of the film's truth. I hope. Yeah, even like the Manon, Hélène, the kid, and the old woman, each hold a segment of the truth of the film.
And the way the film kind of also plays with time a bit and sort of folds in on itself, was that always your initial intention, or is that part of what was also nice to kind of play with as you were telling your story?
It was in the script. That's a good question. Thank you. It was in the script, but it got more precise during the making. The reminiscences, there's two reality that are evolving at the same time, and they're a variable mechanic of reminiscence. What is seen is tell a little bit later. What is told at a certain moment will be seen afterwards, and back and forth. There's a system there's a circle going on. I think it's the circle of the prey and the predator, and it's the circle of the paradoxes that are explored.
In terms of sort of like these themes that it hits upon about activism and tourism and existential dread. What did you hope that people would be like leaving the cinema thinking about after watching your film?
It is a tragic tale, and being a tale, there is a maximalist way of bringing these deep subject matters. But I hope under that there's a there are different levels of intensity where you can think about loyalty, about responsibility, about our social institutions. You can take that tale and I hope that the tale put in questions with different level of intensity these subject matters. I hope the people will share certain emotion about our responsibility to keep this word livable and decent, which isn't always the case. And I hope they'll get what the film is saying about the importance of connections and links, and cherishing and honoring the links that make us free. So the connections and the relations that are the center of our life. So. And I hope I hope the people will get some pleasure out of the very specific animated mise en scène, hopefully.
And I guess it is a very contemporary concern, because I feel like we're always being torn in our contemporary era between this concept of sort of personal responsibility, looking after our earth, which is something which is obviously a collective responsibility, and where does one thing start and where does one thing end? So do you feel like that's also sort of a very current topic, which often doesn't have a right answer? You know, you look at sort of, you know, really extreme forms of activism that happen that have, you know, detrimental consequences. But if it's for the greater good, you know, is that still a good thing? So it's something that's very much in the air right now.
And the balanced approach is also in French we say insuffisant. Is also it's not enough. I think these contradictions, these paradoxes, should be at the center of our collective reflection. And as you said, I think it is a collective responsibility. We should find a way, difficult way maybe, but to honor this collective responsibility. But I don't have any answers. The film doesn't have any clear answer. But I think posing, questioning these, and trying to explore. I consider, as a viewer, I like films. I receive films like a mental space. You know, they're like images, ideas. story, characters, sound, and words, and it's a mental space. I try to make films that way too. You offer the viewer images, colors, words, and then they reconfigure it in their mind, and what they keep afterwards is a part is their own mental space that you proposed.
And what does it mean to you to have the film playing here in Cannes? And I guess, how do you see sort of the space for kind of adult animated films, you know, sitting alongside, you know, regular kind of live action films? Perhaps it's like a bit of a genre or niche that can kind of be overlooked, like animations for kids, and then there's like normal film, but there's this special space for this.
It's so joyful to break the boundary between like animation as a niche and general cinema, and I think animation has a lot to offer to general cinephilia. It's in terms of mise en scène, in terms of purpose, of treatment of certain ideas. It's a rich medium, and it's a powerful mise en scène too. So it's a real pleasure and a privilege to be able to share that film with this audience.
And you did say you had the premiere last night. Maybe you can just share some like initial gut reactions to having it.
It's a film full of tension. The screening was full of tension, but there was a beautiful release at the end. A lot of emotion, and a lot of the crew members are there. So it was lovely.
You know, on the horizon for you next? Have you already got a next project?
Yeah, it is written. We're starting the financing next month. So it will be it's a film, very different film. Yet it's about order and disorder in the intimacy, in our own intimacy and psyche, in society, social class, what is permitted to whom to be and to do, and in art. So it's order and disorder in 3 levels, and characters are going through all these.
Amazing. Well, can't wait to see that one as well. Huge congrats on the film. I'm really enjoyed presenting it here in Cannes. Thanks so much.
Thank you very much. My pleasure.